The Art of Leadership Network.
Hey leaders, welcome to the LeadCulture Podcast. I'm your host, Jenni, CEO of the Foresight Group. We're a company dedicated to helping leaders develop thriving teams. Each week, I'll be your guide as we explore practical strategies to equip you with the tools you need to lead with clarity, confidence, and build unstoppable momentum in your organization. My mission is to be your trusted coach, empowering you to master the art of self-leadership so you'll learn to lead yourself well so you can lead others better. Each week, we take a deep dive on a leadership or a culture topic. You'll hear stories from amazing guests and leaders like you who are committed to leading well. So let's dive in and keep learning on this leadership journey together. Well, friends, welcome back to the Summer of Leadership series. This has been a fun one already. I'm hearing some great feedback from you all about just the practical help that this series is. We've been walking through the 8 essential skills every culture-carrying leader needs. And when I say culture-carrying leader, I mean every leader, because every leader is influencing the culture, is influencing the experience that our team has inside of our organizations. And so whatever seat you're in, whatever sphere of influence you have, whether you're leading volunteers, you're leading a team, you're leading a whole company, you are a culture carrier. And these skills are really important. Last week, we talked about self-leadership, the skill that really unlocks all of the others. And this week, we're going to talk about emotional intelligence, the human skill that no machine can replace. Guys, I really believe this one is a big one. I think it's the thing that sets us apart. Now, there's a lot of buzz right now about intelligence of all kinds. Artificial intelligence is the top conversation in just about every space that I'm in. Business intelligence, strategic intelligence. But one type of intelligence that often gets overlooked is emotional intelligence. And yet, it's the very thing that defines your effectiveness as a leader. But the problem, and you've probably experienced this, is that we're often underdeveloped in the skills that matter most, right? I don't remember taking a class on emotional intelligence growing up. Now, maybe there's some language around it, maybe a psychology class, but unless you were in that field specifically, for those of us who studied business or different skills like that, we didn't learn about emotional intelligence. And yet it's so essential to leading well. We spend years honing technical skills, but often neglect our relational and emotional abilities. Emotional intelligence is often labeled as soft skills, but it really has the hard consequences when it's missing, right? When it is missing from an equation, like it is painful. We measure intelligence by what you know, but we trust leaders based upon how they make us feel. Think about that for a minute, right? We measure intelligence or competence by what we know, but we trust leaders based upon how they make us feel. One of my fatal flaws as a leader has been just how driven I am. Like, I love to get stuff done. I like to move fast, A-type overachiever. You've probably heard me say that before. And with that drive comes some high expectations and a whole lot of impatience, right? And not only for myself, but whether intentionally or not, I create those high expectations and that sense of impatience with people around me. I move fast, and I've often assumed and expected others to move at the same pace as me, right? I just thought everybody operates this way, which is what we all do, right? Like whatever is common to us is how we expect everybody else thinks and behaves. And it's just not true. This is why emotional intelligence is so important. While my drive can be very valuable to helping our team achieve our goals, and so there's some good things about how driven I am and motivated I am, it can also create blind spots for me in understanding how others experience me. I remember this was quite a few years ago. I had wrapped up a meeting with the team that I was working with at that time, and we had a pretty big goal in front of us. And I was really excited about communicating the plan, right? I came into that meeting, I'm sharing the plan and the goal and what we're going to do and how we're going to do it and the amazing outcome and possibilities from it. And I leave the room energized. And after the meeting, I was debriefing with my assistant, and I was kind of asking her why the team didn't seem as excited as I thought they should be, right? I did at least notice that they weren't matching my energy. And she bravely shared that while they believed the idea was great, they were tired and still recovering from our last big initiative. Because again, remember, super driven, go, 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 go. I wasn't even the senior leader in this organization. I was number 2 in the organization, but both of us operated that way. And in my drive and ambition, I was overlooking how much the team had recently done, right? I'm just on to the next thing, on to the next thing. And some of you have worked for leaders like that. Maybe you've been that leader where it's just that constant push forward with never a sense of relief or a sense of break. And I lacked emotional intelligence to help me understand the perspective of my team and then understand their reaction in that moment, right? I just lacked some understanding of where they were and how they were experiencing it, what was going on with them. I was focused on how I felt about it. Now, I'm sure you have some examples too. There's the classic, the leader who changes the mood of the room when they walk in, right? And maybe you just never know exactly what you're going to get, but when you walk in, you know their energy and they don't have any idea that they've changed the energy of the room, right? They're kind of oblivious to it because they kind of operate in their world. Or the person who dominates the conversation with their really strong opinions and doesn't notice that everyone else is maybe shutting down or not sharing. They think everyone agrees with them, when in reality, everyone just wants to get out of the conversation. I'm sure you've seen those kind of circumstances, right? So we've all been in environments where somebody lacked emotional intelligence. They lacked an understanding of themselves, others. I love one of my good coaching friends says it this way when she talks about self-awareness. It's understanding of yourself, understanding of others, and understanding how others experience themselves around you. And that's also a good little framing for emotional intelligence. According to Harvard Business Review, emotional intelligence is responsible for nearly 90% of what sets high performers apart from their peers with similar technical skills. So high performers, same technical skills, the ones with high emotional intelligence are set apart. They stand out. Emotional intelligence is responsible for nearly 90% of what sets high performers apart from their peers. LinkedIn's 2024 Global Talent Trend report found that 92% of talent professionals say soft skills are just as important, if not more, than hard skills in hiring decisions. So in hiring, this is as of 2024's report from LinkedIn, talent professionals who are doing the hiring are saying soft skills matter just as much, if not more, right? So leaders are prioritizing the importance of skills like emotional intelligence. So let's talk a little bit more about why emotional intelligence is essential, especially to culture, right? Where's the connection there, Jenni? Culture is shaped by how people feel about how they work together, right? When you ask somebody about the culture of their organization, you're going to hear how they feel about being a part of that organization. I was talking to another leader recently who said, culture is the feels. Culture is the feels in your organization. And that's why emotional intelligence is so important, because leaders need to understand how it feels to be a part of the organization. Now, it's not everything, but it's a lot. Emotional intelligence isn't just helpful. It's foundational for building trust, navigating change, and fostering healthy teams, because emotional intelligence is that intention to understand others, right? It's a demonstration of empathy. It's a demonstration of, I want to understand you. I care about you. I want to get to know you. I want to understand how you're experiencing this. Like, emotional intelligence is getting beyond yourself and being aware of others. And that creates an environment that people want to be a part of. See, culture is emotional. If you want to build a great culture, you have to lead with empathy, awareness, and relational strength. And I know that a lot of times for leaders that were like, really emotional in the workplace, well, I mean, the best part of emotion, the part of emotion where we see people as humans. In my book, The 4 Dimensions of Extraordinary Leadership, we start with leading from heart. We talk about that dimension being so critical because it's the starting point of relationships, right? Like, leading with heart is that emotional connection with others. It's the EQ component of leadership. So we have to be intentional to recognize that when we're building cultures, the relationships matter, the emotional intelligence matters. In my book, Culture Matters, I say that culture isn't just about what we say, it's how we make people feel every single day. Like, our consistency in how we show up shapes culture. AI can replicate data, but only people can build a relationship and build trust. And I know there's even some argument around that because it's pretty remarkable what AI is capable of, but I cannot be convinced that AI can replace the human element. And so this is our advantage, leaders. Like, leaning into the humanness, our emotional intelligence is a differentiator for us. EQ is the competitive advantage that makes culture work, that makes leaders lead well. I've probably operated already with some assumption that you understand what emotional intelligence is, but let me break it down for you a little bit more. Emotional intelligence is commonly divided into 4 categories: self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, and relationship management. And in brief, this is how Travis Bradberry and Gene Greaves define these categories in their book, Emotional Intelligence 2.0. It's probably my favorite emotional intelligence book. There's a lot of great books, but I'll tell you why I like this one. I'm giving a little pause for a minute before I dive into this. The reason why I like this book, Emotional Intelligence 2.0, is, first of all, they set the stage for what emotional intelligence is, how our brains are wired to learn this. So what I think is so fascinating is that while our IQ is pretty fixed, and there's a good bit of science around our IQs are pretty fixed, emotional intelligence we can actually develop. And I don't know about you, but that's a really hopeful statement, because I told you that story way back at the beginning of my lack of awareness around how the team was experiencing my drive and ambition. But the thing is, I think my teams would tell me, while there's still that in me and I sometimes have to catch it, I feel like I've grown significantly and being much more attuned to what's happening with others in those types of environments. And so I've seen myself grow in emotional intelligence. And so it gives you some of the science behind how you can grow in emotional intelligence. And then it gives you practical skills that you can do. Like, as you look at these 4 different categories of emotional intelligence, it does an assessment for you. So it helps you unpack each dimension or each category of emotional intelligence. And then it gives you a score. And then it gives you strategies to work on it, which I love. So you love me, you know me, I love a good plan. And this book gives you a plan. So that's Emotional Intelligence 2.0 by Travis Bradberry and Gene Greaves. So grab that, because it's a really fascinating, fabulous resource for emotional intelligence. But in brief, let's look at these 4 different categories. The first one is self-awareness, which we covered this a little bit last week in self-leadership because there's some overlap there. But self-awareness is your ability to accurately perceive your own emotions in the moment and understand your tendencies across situations. So you are accurately recognizing your own emotions in the moment. Now, I emphasize that last phrase because for me, this is the hard part. I will recognize my emotions after the fact, But sometimes I am not as aware of my emotions in the moment, like actually understanding them. I might be reacting to them, but do I understand them? So noticing them, perceiving my emotions in the moment, and understanding my tendency, right? So that's what self-awareness is that I can catch myself. I know what's going on with me, and I'm able to pay attention to how I have a tendency to respond in those situations. So knowing your own tendencies, your patterns, your triggers, the things that just make you react, especially when we're talking about the workplace, there will be things that trigger some emotion in you. You need to be conscious of that. You need to be aware of it so you can catch it and you can acknowledge it. Awareness is power. You can't manage what you don't recognize. So this is a big one for us, guys, and being able to have that self-awareness to know what's going on with us in the moment, to catch it, to self-regulate so that we can manage it because we've recognized it. Self-awareness in your leadership, it's like a leadership mirror. And so my question to you would be, what are some ways you've learned to become more aware of how you're showing up to others? Like, have people pointed it out to you? Do you notice it more quickly? HBR, Harvard Business Review, said that leaders with high self-awareness are rated as more effective by both supervisors and direct reports. So when we have high self-awareness, other people notice it. So the first one is self-awareness. The second one is self-management that kind of builds on the first one. Self-management is your ability to use your awareness of your emotions to stay flexible and direct your behavior positively. So this is now, I'm aware, I understand how I have a tendency to respond, but now I'm going to direct that behavior. I'm going to take charge of that behavior. I'm not going to just react to my emotions. I'm now going to manage them. So it's your ability to manage your emotions, especially under pressure, especially when the wrong thing is bubbling up in you potentially, right? You're able to manage your emotions under pressure. You're not stuffing them, but you're stewarding them. You're paying attention to, okay, this is making me feel this way, and I need to take responsibility so I show up in a way that I want to show up, not just in a reactive way. Leadership pressure is real, right? You guys, things come at us all the time. There's surprises and pressures and challenges. So what rhythms help you manage your emotions and stay grounded? Sometimes it's as simple as noticing you're having a reaction. And sometimes just saying, hey guys, can I take 2 minutes and come back? Right? Like that's often okay. I mean, you need to know the circumstances, but generally, if you just say, hey, can I take a minute? I'll be right back. You can then go compose yourself and come back to the circumstance. Sometimes it's as much as acknowledging it. I'm trying to think of a specific scenario, but this will happen a lot for me in that we'll be in a meeting and something might catch me off guard. And my reaction is to want to overmanage or over control it. And so I will try to say that out loud of like, hey, this is making me feel a little out of control. Here's what I'm thinking, but tell me, am I trying to micromanage now? Like I'll actually acknowledge it because I might not even fully, in the moment, sometimes it's hard to vet that out completely. But what I know is I'm noticing, okay, this is making me fearful. This is making me concerned. And so then my tendency is to go into control mode. So just saying that out loud of like, hey, this is making me feel out of control. And so I'm wanting to overly direct this. Is that helpful? Or do I just need to, do y'all have it? Right? So it gives you language to be able to communicate better with your team. Self-management is what keeps you flexible, steady, and constructive, even in tense moments. So it's the awareness and then it's the management of it. Then the third part of emotional intelligence is social awareness, which is your ability to accurately pick up on the emotions in other people and understand what's really going on with them. So the first two are more related to you managing your emotions. This one is your awareness of others' emotions, the ability to read the room and empathize with others, to notice what's going on with them. How are they feeling? Is there something bothering them? Understanding the emotional currents under the surface of the team also at large. Like sometimes it might be individuals and sometimes it might be the whole group. And so paying attention to that and recognizing, do I have an awareness of the emotional temperature of my team? McKinsey report from 2024 said that leaders who show empathy drive engagement 2 times higher than those who don't. So this really is about empathy, which is a super powerful leadership skill, is the ability to empathize with others, to understand and experience how others feel. Super powerful. And then the fourth one is relationship management, which is your ability to use your awareness of your own emotions and those of others to manage interactions successfully. So this is where it all comes together. You have awareness of your own emotions, and you're doing a good job of managing that. You have awareness of others' emotions, and then you're managing it collectively. And it's how you build, maintain, and repair trust with your team, with others, right? That you will build trust when they see that you have an awareness of yourself and you have an understanding of them, and you're seeking to bring that together. Healthy culture is built one healthy interaction at a time. And here's what is really important about this. This doesn't mean you even get it right all the time, but it means you're leading with an awareness of it. You're recognizing where you are, you're recognizing where others are, and you're using all of that to help lead you forward together as a team. If you're building culture, you're building relationships. If you're building healthy culture, you're building healthy relationships. You're intentionally leaning into the relational side of leadership because you know that that is so critical for the health of your team. So friends, here's what I want you to do today. Practicing emotional intelligence. Like I told you earlier, we can develop this. That's the good news. But it's a muscle. It gets stronger the more we use it. The more we're intentional about it, the more time and energy we give to it, the more we will build it. So I want you to think about today, which one of the 4 areas comes most naturally to you? Is it self-awareness? Is it self-management? Is it others' awareness? Social awareness is what we call it, or relationship management. Which one is more natural for you? Some of you have good self-awareness, but you might lack a little social awareness, or vice versa. So which one of the 4 is natural for you? And give yourself a pat on the back and then keep growing in it. And then where might you be underdeveloped? Which one might be weaker for you? Maybe you do lack a little bit of that understanding of how others feel. Or maybe you lack the management. You have the self-awareness, but you lack in the ability to self-manage. So where are you underdeveloped? Maybe you go grab the Emotional Intelligence 2.0 book and dig in, do the assessment, and get some more objective intel to give you insight into where you can develop in this skill. And here's a couple other thoughts. Journal. I process well by writing things out. That may or may not be you, but if you are somebody who enjoys writing, journaling, journal daily to build self-awareness. What did you notice about how you showed up throughout the day? And that's just a great way to help you kind of reflect on the day and notice how you showed up, what you noticed about others. Where did you see yourself have some emotional intelligence, and where did you maybe miss it? Nobody else has to see it. It's just a great place for you to reflect for yourself. Name your emotions before responding in tough conversations. So again, try to catch yourself in the moment. Okay, what's going on with me? And you guys, this can literally be like a quick little internal conversation in the middle of stuff. It might feel like it's really long, but it really is like just a few seconds of like a check-in of like, wait, what's going on with me? How am I feeling? Why am I reacting this way? Like you can do that pretty quickly and pivot and show up differently. So look for opportunities to do that. And maybe ask a teammate, what's something I don't realize I do that affects others? What's something that I do that I don't realize affects others? Great question. Ask it to somebody who'll be brave enough to tell you the truth. And it'll be a really reflective and helpful insight for you. All right. Well, friends, we are committed to building culture one skill at a time. That's where we're focused on this month. So next week, we're going to talk about strategic thinking. You know, I'm going to love this one because the strategic planner in me loves it. It's the skill that helps you lead beyond the moment, right? The skill that helps you put feet to vision, as I like to say. So one thing you'll notice is that these skills begin to stack on top of one another. If you're leading yourself well, if you're practicing emotional intelligence, you're continuing to shape culture in real time, right? As you develop them one on top of the other, you're going to see impact. And by the way, it's not one and done. These are going to be things that hopefully we're bringing to the surface so that you have more awareness and more intentionality in how you lead day to day. And if you want to go deeper this summer, I want to encourage you to check out the Summer Leadership Institute. We're walking through each of these skills in community with coaching, resources, and application for real teams like yours. So just email me at jennicatron@getforesight.com. It's JenniCatron @getforesight, GET4SIGHT.com. And I'll send you the details. But that's the Summer Leadership Institute, where we have both a course, we have coaching, and application for you to take these skills even deeper. So just email me for those details. Well, friends, emotional intelligence is the most human part of leadership. And that's why it matters more than ever. Machines may learn our tasks, but they can't lead our people. So this week, commit to leading with heart and awareness, because your team doesn't just need a smart leader, they need a present one. If this episode was helpful, I would love for you to share it with a friend and then give me a rating and a review, and I'll see you next week.